I was the sugar mummy of the broke campus heartthrob. But he didn't like me. He even charged extra every time we kissed. Later, my family went bankrupt. I tested the waters carefully. Luke, all those extra kissing fees you charged me. I could have sponsored another male model with that money. Can you give me a discount? He smirked mockingly and turned me down. Then he kissed me for a long time and drained me of all my money. I finally gave up. Turns out, he really only liked my money. At the club dinner, truth or dare livened up the atmosphere. I was the only one who couldn't focus, even with Luke sitting right across from me. All I could hear was my dad's serious tone that morning. Jennifer, our family is probably going bankrupt. Bankrupt. Hey, hey, hey! Jennifer, what are you doing? It's your turn. Truth or dare? I snapped back to reality and realized everyone was staring at me. I slowly said, "Oh, then truth." The questioner cleared their throat. Jennifer, tell us, are you seeing anyone right now? Across the table, Luke lightly tapped his cup against the table. I looked up and met his deep gaze. I got the message he was warning me not to say his name. Of course I wouldn't. After all, we were just in a sugar relationship. I shook my head seriously. Nope. After answering, I even gave Luke a reassuring look, like, don't worry. But he wouldn't look at me. Half his face was hidden in shadow, and I could only see a faint twitch of his lips. No one pressed me further, and the game quickly moved on. I sank back into the anxiety of impending poverty. Worst part? I probably wouldn't be able to afford Luke anymore. I sighed and downed another fruity beer. I don't know how much time passed, but when it was my turn again, I was already drunk and dizzy. Jennifer, truth or dare this time? Liquid courage kicked in. I knocked my glass on the table. Dare! All right, let's see. Pick any guy here and kiss him anywhere you want. A gift from the heavens. If I kissed Luke now, he wouldn't dare charge me. I blinked slowly, braced myself on the table, and staggered over to him. Our eyes met. I announced without giving him a choice, I'm gonna kiss you. The room fell into a weird silence. A second later, the place erupted in deafening laughter. Seriously, did Jennifer get drunk or just lose her mind? Girl has zero self-awareness. Last girl who tried to use dare as an excuse to hug Luke got tossed halfway across the room. I might be drunk, but I'm not stupid. I turned around and argued righteously, he'll let me kiss him. Luke was the one who asked me to sponsor him in the first place. He's a total softie and has expensive tastes. He'd often push me down for a kiss out of nowhere, and as his sugar mama, I couldn't seem petty, so I'd pretend to be chill while handing over most of my allowance. After I said that, the others laughed even harder. Fine, go ahead and kiss him. Nobody stop her. I'm dying to see how far Luke will throw her. I was so mad my ears were burning. I even snapped at Luke. Scoot your legs over. How else am I gonna sit? Oh my God. She wants to sit on his lap. Luke kept his lazy smirk the whole time, silently adjusting his posture. I climbed into his lap and sat sideways. I gave him a satisfied peck on the cheek. Normally, that'd cost me 88 yuan, but now I could get away with it for free. The room went dead silent, jaws dropping everywhere. Luke lowered his head, and his chin brushed my face. Happy now? I pushed my luck. If not, can I kiss you again? I mean, how often does free stuff come around? Luke stared at me, his Adam's apple bobbing. No. Then he tossed me back onto the couch. The room was in chaos again. Someone said Luke was being a gentleman, so I wouldn't be embarrassed, that I'd scored big. I raised my glass and toasted them solemnly. I agreed I just saved 88 bucks. Total win. The alcohol hit me hard, and I was exhausted. As soon as the party ended, I went straight back to my off-campus apartment and crashed on the couch. Not long after, Luke came back too, pressing warm kisses on my cheeks, nose, and forehead, one after another. I frowned and pushed him away. I'm trying to sleep. Didn't you say you weren't satisfied with the kiss? I ignored him and buried my face deeper into the couch. Luke let out a soft laugh, scooped me up, and straddled me on his lap, drawling sarcastically. Could you not be so selfish, little freshman? Which professor taught you to ghost people after flirting with them? He forced me to power back on, and I was so annoyed. I rubbed my face against his neck and muttered, I just don't really want to. Luke misunderstood me. He leaned in and brushed my ear. Not trying to do anything serious. Don't worry. That wasn't what I meant at all. Kissing alone was already expensive if we went further. Well, I was broke. I couldn't afford to pay for whatever came next. I sat up, leaning on his shoulder, eyes still hazy. No, I meant I don't want to kiss. Luke studied me for a moment. Why not? The cold moonlight cast over his face, and when he locked eyes with you, it really gave off the illusion of deep affection. That illusion made my heart flutter. I couldn't help but hope. Because it's too expensive, I probed cautiously. Luke, the amount you charge for kisses, I could have sponsored another male model. Can't you give me a little discount? Luke stared at me silently. A chill crept down my spine. After a while, he finally nodded. So you think I'm too expensive? His fingers lazily twirled a strand of my hair. You know, if we had a different kind of relationship, you wouldn't have to spend a penny. My eyes lit up instantly. Like dating? A real relationship? His gaze locked on my face, but he didn't answer. After several long seconds, he finally said calmly, No, strangers. Thinking of ending things with me? It hit me like a bolt of lightning. I couldn't let go of Luke. Desperately, I tried to bargain. I don't want to end it. Can't we just lower the price a little? The chill in his eyes deepened. He was done talking. He pinned me down and kissed me for a long time. He bit my lower lip hard between breaths. What the hell do you take me for? You really think I'm that cheap? Luke was being extreme. Maybe I worded things badly and made him think I was saying he wasn't worth the money. But still, why insult himself? Luke rarely gave me the cold shoulder. This was the second time. The last time was when my dad cut my allowance. We'd gone to a KTV party for my best friend Julia, also the only person on campus who knew about me and Luke. She had hired 6 male models for her birthday bash. I was curled up on the couch, playing with Luke's hand back and forth. Julia giggled when she saw us. Hey, you two look like you're actually dating. Do we? Luke smiled lazily, then curled his fingers and wrapped my hand in his. I looked up in confusion, and Luke called my name. So, want to date for real? I was a little stunned. Was I about to go from boss to girlfriend? Julia nudged me. Say yes, hurry up. If you do, you won't have to spend all that money on him anymore. Money, that was a trigger word. I immediately turned to look at Julia. She grinned. With what you save, you could sponsor a few more male models, right? Julia pays $23,000 a month for hers. I zoned out, deeply focused on doing the math. I didn't even notice when the two of them started bickering. Luke sneered. Miss Julia's view on relationships allows dating while keeping sugar babies. What's wrong with that? I make it clear from the start. If they don't like it, don't date me. It's actually pretty common, okay? Julia hooked her arm around mine. Right, Jenny? I absent-mindedly nodded. Mm-hmm. Luke didn't respond after that. I finally realized just how much I was spending on Luke every month. Dating would save me a fortune. I eagerly tugged at his sleeve, nodding like crazy. Yes! Yes! Let's date, Luke. But for some reason, he suddenly changed his mind. I was just kidding. He leaned forward to grab his cup off the coffee table and smoothly pulled his sleeve out of my grip. Ah! My heart took a nosedive. Julia scoffed. Seriously, Jenny. You're paying him and still getting attitude. Dump him. I'll set you up with someone hotter. Luke gave a cold laugh, staring down at his cup in silence. I awkwardly changed the subject like nothing had happened. There was no helping it. Luke was too much my type. I just couldn't let go. But this time, it looked like I had to. He'd basically taken all my allowance this month. I couldn't afford this gilded canary anymore. The next morning, while he was still asleep, I sent him a breakup text, blocked him, and went back to school. Sorry, Luke. I thought it over all night. I've decided to end things. Hope you find a more generous sugar mama. Suddenly, single and on the verge of bankruptcy, my mood was in total freefall. During an easy elective, I'd already sighed 5 times. Jenny, you okay? Asked Jason, who sat next to me. Since we'd grown up together, I didn't hide the bankruptcy thing from him. I slumped on the desk and told him, I really need a part-time job to cover expenses. Jason paused for a moment. Actually, my parents never mentioned Uncle Delaney's company was in trouble. But if you need to make money, want to apply to be my piano teacher? I shook my head. I've only won a few low-level prizes. I'm really not that good. But good enough to teach me. Jenny, 6 lessons a month? 50 grand deal? I hesitated. Jason gently coaxed me. Don't overthink it. I just didn't like my last teacher. I immediately went full bootlicker. Boss, I'll give it my all. After class, we left the building together, still working out our first lesson schedule, when I saw Luke standing at the entrance. His gaze locked onto me, icy and intense. I made an excuse to send Jason away and walked over to Luke nervously. You looking for me? I was worried he came to ask for a breakup fee. Luke stared down at me coldly before finally speaking. What's that supposed to mean? You dumped me just because a male model's cheaper? Pressured by his questioning, I had to come clean. I really can't afford you anymore. Luke froze. That's the only reason? Nothing to do with the male model? I was confused. Why do you keep bringing up male models? He smirked. Didn't you bring them up yesterday? I thought back and realized he misunderstood. I felt personally insulted. Like I'd ever ditch him for some forgettable pretty boy. I was fuming. My voice even rose. I never wanted to sponsor anyone else. I only mentioned it to highlight how expensive he was. He let out a bitter laugh. His tense shoulders finally relaxed. I saw Luke reach to take my hand, and I instinctively dodged, kindly reminding him, Luke, we're over. He didn't care. Yeah, I know. Then let's date. He completely missed the point. I seriously don't have money to spend on you. I leaned in and whispered in his ear. He slipped an arm around my waist and lifted me 2 steps up so I could look him in the eye. I have money to spend on you. He brushed me off, then pulled out his phone to draft a public post. I kinda got where he was coming from. Losing a sugar mama all of a sudden probably triggered some insecurity, so now he was trying to win me back. But deep down, he didn't believe I was really broke. I stopped his hand mid-typing and told him sincerely, I'm not lying, Luke. I really am broke. No matter what you do, even if you say you love me, even if you're not in it for the money, I still can't give you a dime. Luke's smile turned icy. What the fuck are you even talking about? He was too proud to admit anything, and I didn't push it either. I just offered some random comfort. With your looks, you'll be in high demand. I'll recommend you to every rich girl I know. If someone's interested, I'll pass along your number. Before he could react, I darted away. Bye, bye, bye. I bolted so fast my space buns were flying behind me. That afternoon after class, Jason and I went to the school's piano room for our first lesson. Unfortunately, we ran into Luke again. Jason stepped in front of me, eyes cool as he stared at him. Jenny, is he bothering you? Luke chuckled. Not your business. Jason stepped forward. Jenny's business is my business. If you've got something to say it to me. I'll handle it for her. Luke leaned casually against the wall, eyeing him with interest. She used me, and isn't planning to pay up. You planning to pay me back in her place? You! Jason's face turned stormy with rage. I stepped out from behind him, about to drag Luke away, when a girl came running up. Luke! There you are. Didn't we plan to have dinner tonight? I froze for a second, then grabbed Jason and ran all the way to the piano room without looking back. I think I heard Luke calling my name behind me. Jason now knew everything. He ran his fingers lightly over the piano keys and said flatly, "I've seen enough of guys like him. He's only clinging to you now to squeeze out whatever value you have left." I rested my chin in my palm, gazing out the window, silent. Jason said casually, "Jenny, didn't you say you'd introduce him to some rich girls? One of my friends is into his type. Want me to set it up?" I thought of that girl from earlier and said softly, "Maybe that's not necessary anymore." Jason noticed my gloom and scolded me for being soft. "Jenny, is someone that greedy for money really worth your feelings?" I turned to him and said, "Actually, I liked him a long time ago." I fell for Luke at first sight, but never found a way to get close to him until one night near campus, I saw him surrounded by a bunch of suit-wearing thugs. I took a deep breath, yanked up my suspender dress, and rushed over to shield him. "I already called the cops. You still want to fight?" The way they looked at me was complicated, but eventually they backed off. I turned to Luke and gently reassured him. "They're gone now, Luke. You don't have to be scared." He raised an eyebrow slightly, smirking at something. "So I should thank you?" I shook my head generously. "No need. Why were they after you? Want me to go to the police with you?" Luke didn't look shaken at all, just strolled beside me nonchalantly. "I owe them money. I'll pay it for you." I said it without hesitation. Luke stopped and stared at me for a while. "What do you mean? You trying to sponsor me?" It was an intimate implication that made my ears burn. I nervously clenched the hem of my dress. "Yeah, I actually have money." Luke gave a lazy, devastating smile. "Sorry, freshman. I don't sell myself." That was his roundabout way of rejecting me. But before we parted, I slipped a password-free card with a 50K limit into his jacket pocket. I just wanted him to pay off the debt quickly, so he wouldn't get beat up again. I didn't see him again until 3 days later. Luke sneered. "You know how hard I had to work to find you?" Oh, I forgot to tell him my name and major that night. I thought he came to return the money, but he said me secretly giving him that card counted as forcefully sponsoring him. So he had to fulfill his obligations. From that day on, he'd cook for me in my off-campus apartment whenever he didn't have class. On weekends, he'd go shopping with me. When he tried to visit me at school, I firmly said no. No one could know about our shady arrangement. Otherwise, it'd ruin Luke's reputation. Our first kiss was on my 19th birthday. All the lights were off in the apartment. I knelt at the coffee table waiting for Luke to light the candles. He knelt beside me, flicking the lighter but not lighting anything. "Jennifer." He tapped the table with his finger, his tone flat. "Want a kiss?" I instinctively looked up. His eyes held no light, like a hidden current beneath a calm sea. I was overwhelmed and stammered, "Okay." Luke closed the lid with a snap, snuffing out the flame, then leaned in. Our lips brushed. It was my first kiss, still a bit clumsy. We kissed on and off for a while, but it never went beyond light pecks. Back then, Luke didn't ask for any money. When I asked, he just said he hadn't used up what was on the card. But one day, after he found out Julia was sponsoring 4 models at once, he mercilessly raised his rates. Before that, I sometimes fooled myself into thinking we were actually dating. After the price hike, he started chasing me for money every month. I finally accepted it. He only liked my money. That evening, after parting ways with Jason outside the piano room, I headed toward the school gate to get some dumplings. 2 girls talking nearby caught my attention. You think the guy outside the KTV is gonna die from that beating? Who knows? Serves him right for not paying up. I heard he's some senior heartthrob in his department. Not the first time he's in debt. I stopped in my tracks. They were so focused, they didn't notice me. Bet you didn't know he supposedly had a sugar mama, but now that his face is a bloody mess, she probably dumped him. The most famous senior heartthrob had to be Luke. Before I knew it, I was running to the KTV. A huge crowd had gathered. but no one dared step in. A circle of thugs blocked the view entirely. "Stop it!" I called out, breath shaky. "I've already called the police." "Call all you want," the leader sneered. "If he won't pay, I'm gonna kill him eventually. I'll pay for him. It's fine, I could still sell a few of my bags." "And who is he to you?" "My boyfriend." I said it word by word. "Luke is my boyfriend." I didn't even know why I said boyfriend instead of friend or classmate. Maybe it was because in so many moments with Luke, it really felt like we were dating. The thug's shiny, bald head reflected a giant question mark. Who the hell is Luke? Even I was stunned. "She's got the wrong guy." Luke appeared unharmed from who knows where. I stood frozen as a police car pulled up. Luke dragged me back to the apartment. The moment we stepped inside, he picked me up and set me on the entryway cabinet, boxing me in with both arms, dragging out the tab. "You're kind of funny, boyfriend," Luke sneered. "You left your boyfriend to hang out in the piano room with another guy for 3 hours. This is how you treat him?" I pushed his arm, trying to get down. I was just saying stuff. "If you're fine, then go. And don't come back here again. I'm changing the lock code." He shoved me back down. My back hit the wall and he leaned in. His lips brushed my cheek. He whispered, "What? Trying to cut me off now?" Then bit my nose lightly. I was already at my breaking point. The tears came without warning. Luke froze. I let myself cry out loud, pounding on his shoulders. "Don't touch me!" "When I liked you, I asked if we could date. You rejected me every time and still took all my money. Now I'm broke, and don't even like you anymore, but you keep chasing me. You don't even like me, so what the hell are you doing now?" Luke's lips pressed into a tight line. After a moment, I wore myself out, crying and punching him. He lifted my legs and wrapped them around his waist. Like a koala hugging a tree, he carried me to the couch and sat down. He kissed under my eye, then leaned back and looked at me like I was a tantrum-throwing child. He let out a helpless laugh. "So, I've been your boyfriend for 6 months now, but you treat me like a damn escort? You really think I could kiss a girl I don't like?" I responded logically, "Because I gave you money." After a second, I added carefully, "A lot of money." Luke burst out laughing, didn't argue right away, just slowly pulled up his banking app and showed me the balance on one card. I froze, stunned. "What's this? Is this all the money I gave you?" "Yeah," Luke drawled lazily, half joking. "Didn't dare spend it. Figured one day you'd fall for someone else, dump me, and want the money back too." I scrunched up my nose. Why was he always so sour? Luke confessed everything. Like how he wasn't having dinner one-on-one with that girl today. It was a gathering of club presidents. Also, the night I saved him, those men weren't debt collectors. They were bodyguards sent by his insanely rich grandfather to drag him home for punishment. And he kept raising his rates because he was paranoid. I'd be like Julia and sponsor multiple guys at once. I was fuming. "Why do you always think I'm unfaithful? I've only ever liked you. From the start. Otherwise Luke's eyes darkened before I could finish. He kissed me hard. No warning. Pried open my lips. Entangled our tongues. His hands wandered beyond my waist. The sensation was unfamiliar and overwhelming, like it short-circuited every nerve. The whole experience was like a roller coaster that stopped right before the peak, stuck in mid-air, waiting for an operator to push the lever, but instead, the operator walked away. Luke casually scolded me. "You got the couch all dirty." I panicked and wrapped my arms around his neck, pleading, "Luke, please don't bully me." He brushed my tear-stained cheek with his fingertip, chuckled coldly. "Why are you crying?" "You clearly like it." Only after I tearfully admitted it did he carry me back to the bedroom. Luke's dark eyes locked onto mine, intense like an oncoming storm, but he remained calm on the surface. Later, in a hoarse voice, he even scolded me for messing up the sheets, the desk, and the balcony windowsill. The next morning, I woke before him. I groped under the pillow for my phone, half asleep, and saw my unread messages had doubled. The KTV incident had spread. Even classmates I barely knew were asking if Luke was my boyfriend. By the time I replied to the third person, the arm around my waist tightened. I turned to find Luke watching me with a faint smile. "What's that supposed to mean?" His gaze flicked to my screen. "What do you mean Luke's not your boyfriend?" I blinked. "He's not, though." Luke stared at me like I was insane, propped himself up, and leaned over me. The thin blanket slipped to his waist. Then what the hell was last night? He gave a ridiculous laugh. A one-night stand? His expression said he was on the verge of losing it. I ignored him, more or less. I rolled over and grabbed my phone again. Luke flipped me back. He asked softly, "Why?" "Because I haven't forgiven you yet. Good thing I wasn't a balloon, or I'd have burst." Luke faked being broke for half a year. I couldn't forgive him that easily. No way. Absolutely not. After a while, I got up, picked up my clothes from the carpet, and went back to school. Luke leaned against the headboard, looking at me like I was some heartless jerk who just used him and tossed him aside. That afternoon was a club escape room event, 8 people per theme. Coincidentally, Luke and I ended up in the last group. Our theme had the highest scare level. I was used to these, so it didn't bother me. But Luke didn't seem okay. Right before we went in, he tugged on my sleeve and asked slowly, "Freshman, I'm scared of this kind of stuff. I'll stick close to you, okay? Protect me?" I looked him up and down 6'1", with broad shoulders and a slim waist, and fell into silence. The vice president clicked his tongue. "Luke, you chicken." Luke didn't even look up. Fine. Jennifer, since you're not scared, keep an eye on your senior. We've got 4 scaredy cats to babysit." I had no choice but to agree, grumbling, "If you get scared, just close your eyes and hold my sleeve. I'll lead you." Luke had no shame, grabbing my sleeve right away. He lazily raised a brow. "Thanks, freshman." Annoying. In the first 2 rooms, no NPCs showed up. Luke just held onto my sleeve, didn't react much to the darkness, and even helped with clues when we were stuck. But as soon as we opened the 3rd room, an NPC jumped out. 6 people screamed and scattered. The hallway echoed with shrieks. Luke was slow to react, about 2 seconds, then panicked, wrapped his arms around me, and buried his face in my neck. I patted his arm stiffly. "Hey, the NPC's scaring someone else now. You can get up." Luke didn't believe me and held me tighter. His shoulders even trembled a little. So he really was scared. I thought he was faking. My tone softened. All right. Don't be scared, Luke." I gently rubbed his back. "I'm not lying, the ghost's gone. I said I'd protect you, didn't I?" Luke froze, trembling even more. Somehow, the more I comforted him, the more scared he got. I didn't know what to do, but he finally calmed down and let go. He dropped his gaze, hiding his emotions as he frowned slightly. "Forget it, Jennifer. If I'm scared, I'll just end up clinging to you and slowing you down. I should go with the others so I don't hold you back." Luke rarely looked so serious. He stepped toward the pitch-black hallway, then quickly backed up. I grabbed his hand, unable to hold back my soft heart. "Hold you back? How? The other 6 are scared too. What if they all run off and leave you alone?" I felt awkward and lowered my voice. "If you get scared and need to hug someone, that's fine too." I held his hand as we walked and mumbled, "Luke, you're weird. It's not like you didn't hug me before. Now you're suddenly all polite." Luke drawled behind me. "That's 'cause we're not official anymore." "Didn't you dump me?" "Right. I forgot about that." For a second, I thought things were still the same. I pressed my lips together and said nothing, focusing on finding clues and unlocking doors. When we finally escaped the room, I exhaled in relief. "Hey, what's this?" The VP pointed at our still-joined hands and smiled meaningfully. "Didn't you say you weren't a couple? Then stop faking it." I instinctively let go of Luke's hand, mind racing for a believable excuse. But Luke calmly spoke up. "We're not a couple," he added with ease. "I'm chasing her." From that day on, Luke stopped hiding anything. His clinginess hit new highs. He'd stick to me in class, at meetings, even during club activities. It was exhausting. For once, he wasn't around one evening out celebrating a friend's birthday. But soon after, a friend sent me a video, dim lighting in the private room, yet I spotted Luke instantly. He was swinging an ashtray at another guy's head, without hesitation or concern. Chaos erupted as people tried to break it up. Jenny, my boyfriend, was there too. He said Luke went off because someone said bad things about you. The drunk guy had brought me up. Said Luke had been chasing me forever, and I was just playing hard to get. Pretending to be high and mighty. Bitch like that just needs to be put in her place. Almost immediately, the ashtray slammed down on his head. Luke kicked over the table and pinned him down, punching hard. Every blow was brutal. He wasn't holding back. I worried things would escalate and tried calling Luke, but my friend told me the guy had already been taken to a clinic and wasn't seriously hurt. I curled up in my lounge chair, watching the blurry video again and again. Somewhere around the dozenth replay, Luke called me. "Not asleep yet?" I replied distractedly. "I'm downstairs by your dorm. Brought you cake." I changed into a fluffy Shelley May pajama set and checked myself in the mirror before going down. He stood under the street lamp, wearing a thin jacket over a grey hoodie, quiet and serene, nothing like the guy in the video. I took the bag from him. Inside was a box of black cherry cake. I glanced at it and asked softly, "Had fun tonight?" Luke's face didn't change. It was okay. He was as laid back as ever. Everyone else brought a date. I was bored and left early. My gaze drifted to his right hand, tucked in his pocket. "Luke, why aren't you using your right hand?" His eyes flickered. Realizing there was no hiding it now, he pulled out his hand. The knuckles were still bleeding. Luke didn't care. That bastard was drunk and had a filthy mouth. I just helped sober him up. I cradled his hand and stared at the wound in silence. Luke wasn't the soft one I was. I was already wavering. He seemed to sense it and smiled. "Just a scratch, babe. You're still mad, so I'll keep chasing you a bit longer." Beating him up was totally justified. Don't overthink it. I probably should have warned him he didn't get to call me that anymore, but I let it go. Just this once, for the cake's sake. Even though Luke returned all the money I'd given him, I was still on the edge of bankruptcy. Besides tutoring Jason, I took another part-time job. I started working at a dessert shop on the commercial street outside campus, making cakes. Compared to piano, which my mum forced me to learn, baking was something I genuinely enjoyed and was good at. Business was slow, so I usually worked alone. After the first few days, the boss stopped showing up. I called my dad, who was, supposedly, in Finland for what might be his final business deal. "Dad, I'm working at a dessert shop now." "What? You opened a dessert shop?" I was speechless, about to tell him I could earn money now, but he cut me off and hung up. "Good Lord, your expenses are so high I can't even scold you anymore." "Fine, do whatever you want. Your dad's busy with meetings." I was falsely accused. Just then, Jason messaged me. "Jenny, I'm stopping by with a friend later. Could you get us 2 hot drinks and desserts?" Finally, my first real customers. Energized, I tied on my Peter Rabbit apron and got to work. They arrived just as I set 2 raspberry cheesecakes on the table. A girl I didn't know stood behind Jason. "Who's this?" She glanced at me. Jason smiled naturally. "My girlfriend." I slowly turned to him like he was already a dead man. He walked over, and I noticed his smile had stiffened. "My mum's trying to set me up with her. Jenny, help me out. Just for half an hour. I'll triple your pay next month." The money was too tempting. I reluctantly nodded. Even though Luke and I weren't officially back together, something still felt off, like a guilty conscience. That guilt exploded when Luke suddenly walked into the shop. My body stayed seated next to Jason, but my soul had bolted. Luke's eyes skimmed over the 3 of us. Then he stepped forward and gently brushed my cheek with the back of his hand. "You got flour on you. And this is?" the girl asked with a frown. Without thinking, I blurted out, "My brother." Luke looked at me silently. The girl nodded. Brothers are always more attentive than boyfriends. "Jason, you didn't even notice your girlfriend had flour on her face." "Dead. Girlfriend, huh?" Luke's smile didn't reach his eyes, as if saying, "Well played, Jennifer." Thankfully, he didn't expose us. After they left, I immediately explained everything. "I've never liked Jason," I said firmly. "Never." Surprisingly, Luke didn't seem to care. He raised a brow, unconcerned. "Heading back to the apartment after work?" he asked politely. "Can I try one of your homemade cakes?" I swallowed a tiny pang of disappointment and nodded. "Sure." Since I needed ingredients and tools from the shop, I messaged the boss and packed some to take home. The boss was really chill and kind. Always said yes to everything. As I was folding my apron to pack it, Luke walked over. "You don't need to take that." He glanced at me. "I bought you one." "Oh," I said softly and put the apron back. I'd known since half a year ago Luke could be incredibly thoughtful about little things. But this time, I read too much into it. Looking at myself in the mirror wearing the apron, I pressed my lips together in dissatisfaction. I started educating Luke. "Next time, don't buy this lacy kind. It's all show and no substance snags and tears way too easily." When I saw him just staring at me without replying, I poked his cheek unhappily. "Did you hear me?" He gave a nonchalant nod, brushed my hair behind my ear, and whispered. "I also bought a headscarf. Want to try it?" It was a matching lace triangle scarf. I tried it on and loved it, didn't want to take it off. Though, do supermarkets even sell these? I didn't dwell on it. I went into the kitchen to prep. Luke came out of the shower while I was kneading dough. He wrapped his arms around me from behind. "So cute." That was his comment on my apron and headscarf. I squirmed. "Luke, stop distracting me." "I'm not Luke," he said, resting his chin in the crook of my neck, voice low and strangely cold. "Baby, I'm your brother." The knife hanging over my head finally dropped. Pretending to be Jason's girlfriend, Luke clearly wasn't letting that slide. This version of him, brimming with invisible aggression, had me too scared to move. He didn't seem to notice how tense I was. "What are you doing?" Kneading dough. I could only answer obediently. "Cake? Making steps?" His nose brushed my ear. "Teach me." Luke had zero intention of actually learning how to bake. Still, he'd calmly counter every correction I made. "This isn't how you knead? Skip the whipped cream, it's not sanitary." Same principle as a mixer. I couldn't take it anymore, and tried to cover his mouth. "Luke, can you please shut up?" "It's brother," he corrected. Without calling him that, he wouldn't give me a shred of negotiation power. I gave in. "Brother, I won't pretend to be someone else's girlfriend again." And, at that moment, I didn't have much brainpower left. "And what else? Want to be my girlfriend?" "Yes." I nodded eagerly. Luke was satisfied and stopped saying things that made me want to disappear. That was also when I discovered some of his hidden kinks, like the clothes hanging deep in his closet that couldn't be described aloud. The next day I woke up at 11:30 a.m. alone in the bedroom. I bolted upright, grabbed my phone to call my boss and apologize. But I saw a message from 6 a.m. The dessert shop was closed for 2 days. Relieved, I dove back into bed. Only then did I scroll up and see an unread message from Dad at 10 p.m. last night. He'd returned from Finland. After freshening up, I called Luke, who was in class, and headed home. I couldn't wait to share my hard-working journey with Dad. He tapped his fingers on the bridge of his nose, deep in thought. After a while, he cautiously asked, "Is it because I didn't send your allowance this month that you thought we were going bankrupt?" I stared at him, stunned, then jumped up from the couch. "You said it yourself!" I flailed my bangs as I reenacted that day. I had done my usual routine hands together, sweet voice. Thank you, Daddy. You're the best. Please add 50K to my allowance this month. I had to. Luke always took 80% of my money, and I couldn't even afford a new bag. Dad reluctantly transferred it, while muttering under his breath. Jennifer, our family is probably going bankrupt. I didn't catch all of it. At the time sounded like something about company trouble. Thinking back now, it didn't quite add up. My middle-aged father's temples pulsed with rage. Were you even listening to me? I said if your allowance keeps going up by 50K every month, then yes, we'll probably go bankrupt. My emotions were a mess. But no matter what, the joy of learning the bankruptcy crisis was fake, outweighed everything else. I kissed Dad's shiny bald head and dashed back to campus to find Luke. He was in a club meeting. The vice president was discussing venue logistics. Got it. Makes sense. It's almost lunchtime. Want to grab something together? Luke lounged lazily in his chair, and what he said next was pure chaos. Yeah, Jennifer's my girlfriend, the VP. Who asked? I was asking if you're coming to lunch, Luke answered smugly. Of course, I'm waiting to eat with my girlfriend. Get out! The VP couldn't take any more. I was outside, face-palming hard. That whole day, Luke was like a peacock in full display, announcing our relationship to everyone, especially in front of Jason. He threatened me 3 times not to speak. Then he pulled me behind him, grinned lazily, and said to Jason, My girlfriend wants you to know she's not broke. You should find another piano teacher. Junior. Jason's face was blank as his gaze slid past Luke to me. Jenny, what's really? Luke stepped in front of him and cut him off with a condescending smile. Her business is my business. If you've got something to say it to me. Jason stared at him for 2 seconds, then scoffed. Fine, I'll say it to you. Nothing much. Just think Jenny should consider this carefully. Being in a relationship isn't the same as being a sugar daddy. With sponsorship, you can have multiple guys. In a relationship, only one. Oh, Jenny, did you see Julia's story yesterday? The club just got a batch of new guys, even hotter than Luke. As Jason walked off with a chuckle, Luke's face darkened so much it might rain. Especially when I clicked on Julia's post later that night, he caught me red-handed. Wait, Luke. I can explain. I futilely tried to hide under the covers. He turned to the deepest part of the closet. You want to pick? Or should I? Some of the accessory pieces for those dresses I didn't even know what body part they were for. Terrified, I grabbed the most covered outfit and sat up, clutching my blanket. Luke, look how obedient I am. Let's sleep before 2 a.m. tonight, okay? After I picked the outfit, Luke's eyes changed slightly. His Adam's apple bobbed. He rasped, I'll try. I had braced for another 3 a.m. night like before, but I wasn't nearly prepared enough. That outfit was made to be torn. The sound of fabric ripping brought out Luke's darkest side. I vaguely remember I saw the sunrise that day,